Machismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share, give a thumbs up to this video if you found it helpful, and pass it on if you believe someone else will benefit from it. I'd appreciate that. Thank you for everyone who has most recently subscribed, and definitely I thank you guys that have been in the loop with me since day one or shortly thereafter. I've been doing this almost 6 years. Not religiously, but I have been dedicated to the task of opening people's eyes to what they think they know about the people that they're dealing with, working with, living with, seemingly in love with, called the narcissist. I'm not a professional, but I'll tell you one thing. I know what I'm talking about because I've lived every single word of what I'm talking about in one way or another, whether I've casually observed it as a result of my own abuse and being able to recognize it and put it into verbal context to help people understand that don't dismiss this, keep put a tab on this and see if this is consistently happening. And if it is, you're definitely dealing with a disordered person, a person that is very, very unwell. So let's talk about how a narcissist blocks. They're blockers. They're blockers of anything good, anything delightful, happy, peaceful, harmonious, on and on and on. But what I want to discuss to you guys, I don't have my mics, they're upstairs, bad knees and all that. I figured I turned the volume up on my phone and I realized I was pushing it when it was on video mode. And what my phone did, I have a Galaxy, it did a burst. It did a ton of pictures. And so I never knew my phone could do that. I'm not in my phone like that, but I found out something new. The blocking of a narcissist is because they are very jealous. They are very, very spiteful and jealous of anything going on in other people's lives. Why? Because they have nothing going on in their own life. And what I mean by that, just to emphasize, their life is empty. And I know that might not capture the whole essence of who they are, but think about what I just said. Their life is empty. When they wake up in the morning, there is nothing within them that drives them to appreciate life and help other people and just wake up with humility and gratitude. There's nothing within them that motivates and inspires them to be a decent human being. Spiritually, they are dead. Spiritually, they are empty. But spiritually, they are driven by a dark curse in which they've accepted from a young age, and that's demonic from the pits of hell. They've adopted deception, manipulation, cunningness, and so all these other things follow suit. You know, it grows a spitefulness and enviousness and anger towards peace. And so when they block you, let's give you an example. You could be, they're big blockers, you know. Me as a man, I've observed this long before I awakened to narcissist abuse and narcissistic personality disorder. I'll show you what it looks like. There were times when there might be, say, a female that walks up to me and strikes a conversation in a way that the conversation is just platonic, is organic. Obviously, there is probably a physical attraction there between this female and myself, which brought on the conversation. And lo and behold, if a narcissist comes along, they will not only speak to that woman that they know and are acquainted with, because a lot of people will do that and say, hi, how are you doing? And they'll keep it moving because they want to acknowledge that person that, hey, you know, hey, how are you? But a narcissist will interrupt, they will interject, intercept that whole conversation. They won't say, excuse me, they won't say, pardon me, I apologize for interrupting you guys. They will go into a full-on conversation with that person you were just talking to, and like nobody's business. And so this is a form of how they block, because they potentially think that something is going to either happen between you and that person, energetically, physically, romantically, as far as just being a friend, or forming a friendship or a bond of some sort. They don't want this. They are bond breakers. They are bond breakers. They break bonds that they commit to within themselves. They contradict even the things that they promise themselves. This is why they're constantly doing all kind of erratic stuff. You know, to a person observing them, it is just so much hit and miss, hot and cold, in and out, off and on. And if you're not really just paying attention to it casually in an awakened state, it looks like the person is just a busybody. They're just a busy person. They have a lot of energy, and you say, wow, people in many cases admire them. They admire the fact that these people have so much energy. They'll be like, oh, she's a go-getter. Oh man, she never stops. He never stops. They never quit. I don't know where they get the energy from. A narcissist has energy on tap when it comes to destroying and dismantling cohesive communications and partnerships and whatnot. They will ruin businesses. I got fired by an HR narcissist, and she is yet still firing people. A lot of people they keep encouraging me to file a lawsuit. There's a statute of limitation with that, but that's not the point. That's beside the point. It's irrelevant. More and more I run into people that have been canceled, terminated from that place. I really feel compelled that it's something that I may have to look into at some point soon, because ethically speaking, I just believe from afar, when we see narcissists behaving and tearing people's lives up, it bothers us. It is not even a personal agenda that we're on, because I've been terminated probably almost 2 years now. And although I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm okay with that wholeheartedly, maybe 99%, but I think the biggest thing is what keeps popping into my head is that this was $100,000 a year job, and I didn't have to really work very hard. I had to show up. I had to do my part. Dangerous work, but rewarding work. I was set to buy a house. But that being said, I look at my life going forward, and I want to really resist this mindset, because these are things that we attach to progress. These are things we attach to happiness, peace of mind, and just satisfaction. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it can become a never-ending obsession. And this is just how a narcissist operates. Not only do they destroy you or attempt to destroy you, they're hoping that you won't soon forget. And so I wanted to touch on how they block. That's one example I gave you of when you're in conversation. Another way they block is they will see you from a distance conversing with someone. And this is where they begin to smear you. They will smear you in attempts to make sure that communication, that friendship, that relationship of whatever kind or whatever degree does not grow, does not culminate, does not take on a growth. So they really want to disperse and destroy something that's happening in your life before it even starts. And they can do this from a distance if they observe you in conversation with someone either they know or a total stranger. They'll come up to that total stranger when you depart from that conversation, say in a store or in a park, they'll walk up to that person and say something like, do you know them? You know them? Or the way that they will try to manipulate that person is, I didn't know you knew them. And the person will say, who are you talking about? And they'll say, oh, that guy you was just talking to. I know this because I've observed. And it's very, very disgusting. Who's got time on their hand to do that? Who sits around and just like purposely observe, stick their nose in other people's business for all the wrong reasons, just to go in and destroy something that is none of their damn business? Guys, I hope this helped you understand that a lot of times you won't even realize that there is somebody on the back end in the bushes that is sabotaging that business venture, that situation that you had with that person, that girl that never got back to you when that conversation was so fluid. And another reason why that could be is because that's narcissist, and they got home and start realizing that conversation you were having, you're a tough nut to crack. So there is another aspect of it too, but that's a whole nother situation, a whole nother subject. So when there are things that are falling apart around you, there's no wonder. There's no wonder to be had, because things don't just backfire on you as a well-meaning person, as an empath, a chosen one. You have God's favor on your life and in your life to be successful, to prosper, to be in good health. The Bible talks about this, but the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So when these things are happening in your life, take a moment, pause, and just kind of observe and introspect on what could possibly be the factors that play a part in, or played a part in the fact that this thing has come to a halt. And it may not even be that time for that thing to progress, or it may be God's direction that you don't want to deal with that situation or that person because they may in fact be toxic. So in introspecting, you'll come to some of these conclusions rather than to sit back and be disgusted and discouraged that things are just not working out for you. Sometimes, and a lot of times, it's often a narcissist who is blocking. That being said, bless.